In this guide on the top 10 crystal locations on Fjordur, I'm going to show you 10 of the best places to get crystal on the new Ark Fjordur map. We'll show you some places you can get thousands of crystal in just a couple of minutes, and we'll show you map and GPS coordinates of crystal locations all over the Fjordur map so that no matter where you live, there's going to be a great crystal location near you. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. So this first location, we are here on the southern continent on the northeastern side, right at these coordinates. And you'll see these hexagonal pillars from very far away. There's a waterfall that goes down to the coast. And we're going to go right over the edge next to that waterfall, and you'll see all of these green crystals. And every single one of these things is full of crystal. There's a bunch of them here all the way around the edges. And then if we follow the river further up, you'll see some on the sides, which you can actually get with an ankylosaurus if you use like a quetzal or something like that. There's a bunch more down on these sides, all around up here, and then if we go into the cave, there's even more crystal inside, but I don't really recommend going in here because even though there's piles of crystal inside, you're going to find just about every nasty thing you find in your typical caves, and Desmodas spawn in the back, so it's a real dangerous area in here, but you can get tons of crystal out here without having any trouble whatsoever. Now, if you just started on Fjordur, there's a great crystal location just below the waterfalls near the castle, so you can see all of these waterfalls on the southeastern side of the northern continent from the coast, and we are here at this exact location. So if you head to the bottom of the furthest to the right waterfall along the coast, you'll see this little island, kind of like a triangle pointing to that waterfall. And if you go up this beach, back behind the waterfall, there's a cave in here. And this cave has tons of crystal inside. There's a whole bunch over there. You can only get that with a flyer or if you build some scaffolding, but there's a bunch more over here on this side. There's another entrance back here. And do be warned, there's a lot of dangerous stuff outside the cave, but once you get inside, you should be relatively safe. And there's actually a lot of metal and oil deposits in the bottom here. So it's a great place to run in here and grab a bunch of crystal if you've just started out your game, as long as you can avoid the Rexes. Now, another excellent spot to grab crystal as soon as you've got a flyer, because it's a little bit hard to get up this slope, is just above this and to the right. We've got a slope here that's got a whole bunch more crystal deposits, and if you're starting out on Fjordur, this should be all the crystal you need for quite a while, and there's some oil nodes too. Now, we're still at the waterfalls here. If we keep heading further east, there's a much more dangerous place to get crystal. And you'll see the cave because there's all of these purple crystals right here on the outside. And here is the coordinates of that cave. You can find it pretty easily if you follow along this mountainside. And inside here is actually a lot of crystal. There's a bunch of dangerous aberrant stuff in here, but even right at the very edge, you'll see these plants. These have little crystals growing on the plants. And you could harvest these by hand, and you'll get a decent amount of crystal. So it's actually a plant that grows crystal, and they're found all over this cave. If we go further inside, you're going to find some actual crystals growing around, and a bunch of gems. But these white rocks are crystals, and they're scattered throughout this whole cave. But do be careful, there's a bunch of ravagers and stuff. Now, if you've got a Doedicurus or an Ankylosaurus, you can actually get some crystals from these gem deposits too, and those are everywhere inside this cave. But if you've got S+, you can even grind gems down into crystals. So if you've got thousands of gems, you can get thousands of crystals pretty easily. So it's a great place to get tons of crystal, but it is really dangerous. So be very careful and very well armed if you go into this cave. If you want a bit of crystal that's pretty easy to find and easy to grab with a flyer, head up to the middle of the northern continent and there's this huge mountain covered in gold. At the top of that mountain, we're going to go straight towards the waterfall, and just before we get to the waterfall on the right-hand side is this little plateau with a bunch of obsidian and crystal right here. And there's actually a pretty good amount of crystal here, and it's real easy to get dangerous stuff to just jump off the cliff, and you can grab all the crystal. Another excellent place to get crystal is if we look on the very middle of the map in the northern continent. You're going to see this autumn area up in the mountains. There's two waterfalls down at the coast, and if we follow that river all the way up the waterfall, there's a set of mountains at the top, and there's a little village on top of these mountains, and just above the village is a really good deposit of crystal. There's tons of crystal all over the place up here, and it's sometimes some dangerous stuff can spawn up here, but it's pretty easy to get it to fall off the mountain. And then you've got all of that crystal and obsidian that you can gather in peace. And here is the coordinates of that spot. Another great place to get a lot of crystal is this really cool cave, a very cool crystal cave. And we're back here at this spot where there's a couple of waterfalls, and we'll head up to these waterfalls where the autumn area meets the winter area. And right on the left-hand side of the falls, it's very hard to see, but there's this tiny little cave opening right here. And here is the exact location of that cave opening. Now, if we head in here, this is one of the best kept secrets on Fjordur because a lot of people don't even know this cave is in here, and it's absolutely massive. This cave is so big, there's so much space to live in here. And all around here are little spots that have bunches of crystal all around. So there's a bunch there, a bunch over there, up on top. Back towards the back, there's a bunch of metal, and there's a little bit more crystal back on the back left side too. And of course, the entire thing has giant crystals everywhere, so it only makes sense. It's actually perfect temperature in here all the time, and at nighttime it lights up brighter than the daytime. So this is an amazing place to live. This is actually where I lived on the Monarchy series, and I absolutely loved living here on Season 1. So definitely a cool place for crystal, and an amazing place to set up a base. Now this next crystal location is excellent, but you'll have to bear with me for a second because it's kind of hard to show you where it is. So we're here in the very middle of the ocean, and there's a little tiny piece of seaweed sticking up out of the ocean. That's really the only good landmark. Now if you take a look at the blue obelisk and draw a line directly between that and the great tree in the distance, you line yourself up where you're right in the middle of that, right in the middle of the ocean. That's just about where this seaweed is. Also, there's all these icebergs, and the one in the middle there points straight to this location. So we are going to head straight down, and we'll go past the edge where the seaweed is sitting, all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see there's like this orange piece of coral down at the bottom. If we look up to the right, there's another piece of coral, and we head straight past that all the way to the back, and you'll see this little opening here. And then you're in a cave absolutely full of crystal nodes all over the place, and actually lots of oil too. You can set up an outpost here and get hundreds of crystal and bring it back to your base. It's real easy to get in and out with a Maywing, but anything else you will probably run into electric eels, Nidaria, stuff like that. So it is pretty dangerous getting in and out, but it's great once you've got it set up. In the very northern part of the map, right underneath my fingernail, if you head all the way to the end of the autumn area on the northern side, there's this little house embedded in a mountain. And here is the map and GPS coordinates of this little house. Right on top of that thing's roof is this slope, which has a ton of crystal on it. There's probably 20 crystal nodes all over the slope, and pretty easy crystal to grab. So just below that mountain peak is a valley, all of this autumn area, and it's got a whole bunch of rivers running down it and a couple of big waterfalls. And right at the base of the left-hand waterfall is a ton of crystal inside this cave. So we're going to head right to the base of that, right inside, and there's quite a few crystal deposits and some good metal right here. Now this crystal location doesn't have a ton of crystal, but if you live on the eastern side of the map, you can find this spot real easily. So we are here, and there is a huge mountain with a waterfall, all of these hexagonal pillars all around it, and at the top of the mountain is covered in these big chunks of gold, so it's real easy to spot from far away. Right up on top of that mountain are quite a few crystal chunks all around there, and there's also a ton of metal on top too, and inside that mountain is a ton of metal all the way inside. So it's a great place to get metal and crystal, and I'll give you the location one more time. Right here is the exact spot where you'll find all of that crystal. So hopefully one of these crystal locations is perfect for you to get all the crystal you need on your Ark Fjordur adventures. If it helped you, be sure to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment to let me know which of these crystal locations you use, and if there's any crystal locations on Fjordur that I missed, please feel free to drop the coordinates in the comments too. I love hearing from you guys, and that helps me make better guides. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for all notifications, because we've got lots more helpful Fjordur guides coming out really soon, and some of those tricks will save you hours of time and help you enjoy the new Fjordur map so much more. Thanks for watching this video from the Ark Survival Guide. Please give it a thumbs up, share it around, and leave a comment. That helps us so much, and we love hearing from you. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for all notifications so you don't miss our next video full of tricks that will help you win at Ark. While you wait, here's more videos you can watch right now, and we will see you in the next video.